if you could sort of talk to us about what are some easy ways in to make the highest impact in terms of making your work and your communication strategies accessible and why that's so important.
Thank you so much for your question. I think the broadest answer I can give is starting out with empathy. I think once we all look at it from that point of view, like, can this person hear me? Can this person see what I have to say, present as well? Can they understand the jargon that I'm using? Is English their native language? Once we start off with those concepts, it's a lot easier to make accessibility stay at the forefront of our brains. So, for example, I'm going to start with this Teams meeting. At the top of your screen, if you're on a computer, there's an ellipses button, and you can click live CC captions. And it will literally translate in real time what I'm saying in English. So, overall, when it comes to empathy and communication and accessibility, you want to make the experience as best for that person as possible. So, I'm going to start off with alternative text. It's when you describe an image briefly or as in depth as you'd like to make sure that anyone who's using a phone or a computer who also has a screen reader is able to understand what the picture is about without actually seeing it. For example, my former boss lived with low vision, and I had to describe every picture that I posted on her Instagram page as a social media manager for art access accessibility. And so next I want to talk about closed captioning. So that's really helpful for anyone in the deaf community in particular. But also, a lot of people now, when they're watching videos on their phones, if you care about social media engagement, it is said that the majority of people watch things without audio. So, like, maybe they're in a meeting and they're distracted, or they're like lying in bed and they don't want to wake up their partner. It's very accessible that way as well when you just add the captions. It really opens the arena to a broader audience. And then there's also ASL interpretation. I'm not sure what the Canadian version is, but I do understand that when a lot of our public figures do give speeches, like our mayors, they always have an ASL interpreter there. And so I have pitched at a lot of conferences to make sure that if you're giving an opening keynote or a closing plenary, that you honestly don't know who's in the audience who has trouble hearing. And also with the Americans with Disabilities Act, they are not required to disclose that information. And so to just make sure that it's as accessible as possible, you should hire an ASL interpreter for that
Mhm.
hour that you'll be speaking. Actually, the US law is that you have to hire two
Wow.
because they switch off every 15 minutes. And so the next thing I want to talk about is translation. And I
Mhm.
feel as though Canada has is the best example of this because I believe French is also like really popular there. And is it the law to have things translating in both?
The law is specific about which things have to be translated, like federal or provincial documents, and it could be a bit different in different provinces as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Well, in the US, I would say the majority of everything is English. And I know that now, especially in healthcare, they're really branching into getting things translated in Spanish and Arabic.
Oh,
So
great.
again, we're just thinking about how does that empathy be can it be at the forefront so that we can make sure that this person is able to understand what we're trying to communicate, whether that's from a healthcare point of view, your research point of view, or just something on TV. And then lastly, I want to just talk about translation. Oh, actually, I think I covered that. So yeah, those are my answers. Thank you.